When you're first starting a nonprofit, getting your community to take notice and care about your mission enough to show up and support your cause can feel like a big challenge. But it doesn't have to be. Today I'm excited to take my camera out to new places and spaces and talk to someone who's done an amazing job building up community and getting his community to show up, even though his nonprofit is just barely a year old. So in this video, we're gonna have a little chat with the Great Raleigh Clean Up and its founder, Preston, to learn how can a new nonprofit just starting out build community. Welcome back to my channel. Once again, this is Amber Melanie Smith. I'm a nonprofit founder and executive director and also a social impact YouTuber. I love making these videos here on YouTube to help folks who are starting a nonprofit or social enterprise or making a difference in some other way. I hope you find that this video is helpful or interesting. You give it a like and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Don't be afraid to check out my website, foundertofulltime.com, for resources if you are starting a nonprofit. And let's get into this. I encountered the Great Raleigh Clean Up and its founder, Preston, accidentally through Instagram in 2021. I noticed almost immediately how engaged the organization's followers were, how many people I saw in photos participating in his events. When I realized his organization was just starting out, I was surprised at how much traction he was getting in what seemed like a short time. Now in 2022, Preston has over 800 volunteers, partnerships with numerous other nonprofits, and events and programs that span over multiple areas of this city. His volunteer projects fill up weeks in advance, with waiting lists in place. I wanted to get a first-hand look at what Preston is doing, ask him some questions, and see what we can learn about his approach to help others who are starting up their nonprofits or social impact projects. All right, let's start with who are you? What is this organization and why did you start it?
I am Preston Ross. I am the founder and executive director of the Great Raleigh Clean Up. I am a Raleigh resident of 22 years and Raleigh is a place I'm passionate about. And during the pandemic, I noticed that it was becoming heavily littered and something needed to be done about it. So one day I walked out with my dog and I picked up some trash, and then I invited some other people to do it, and it kept growing and it kept growing and turned into a nonprofit. I became an executive director, and here we are 50,000 pounds of trash later.
Wow.
Less than a year and a half.
Wow. So I've told you before, I think that you are killing it in terms of building up support and building up community, especially at this early stage in your sort of nonprofit existence.
Yeah.
How are you doing it? What are some of the things that you're doing? What strategies or tips do you have for others who might be building up their nonprofit from the ground up?
I think we're just trying to build a team, a community of people who want to see Raleigh, with less trash. I mean, I think people are passionate about what we're doing and how we do it because they have the same mission, the same goal, the same vision as us, as a 100% litter-free Raleigh, and we are actively working as hard as we can to get there. And when you do something like this, when people leave, they feel good about the work they've done. It's an instant impact. 2 hours, you can tell the impact that we've had, and you can see it in the photos that we post or videos and so forth. So I think people appreciate being a part of that.
I heard you say something at the beginning of that really caught my attention because it's something I've advised other nonprofits to do, and you're just kind of intuitively doing it. And that is, you have a very clear, concrete mission and vision. You said 100% litter-free city, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's so clear. You can visualize it. It's short, it's succinct. So yeah. I think that that's a really great piece of advice and something awesome that you're doing.
Yeah, and I mean, whether we get there or not, we're going to do everything we can to work towards it, and that's going to always be our mission. That's going to be our goal, and we're going to keep working towards it.
Yeah, and you've got these t-shirts. Everyone out here is wearing the shirts. You talked about making people feel like part of a team. Like, how do you do that?
I don't know.
No, come back. Okay, I will say Preston is known for humility also.
All right.
It's endearing. All right, so I was watching y'all at the end. You did your group huddle, and I noticed that you did something. You said something in particular.
Okay.
Do you remember what you said? It was about
Thank you.
yeah, well, yes, that's
Okay.
important also, but you also talked about the impact. You
Oh,
talked
yeah.
about, how many pounds did you say did y'all collect today?
I think we're probably at over 2,000.
Over
I can almost
2,000.
guarantee we're over 2,000 with everything. But that's not just trash, that's recyclables, that's clothes we're gonna try to clean up. There's a dog crate that we found, a tent that we're gonna try to salvage. So it's 2,000 pounds of stuff. And a lot of that is trash though. So
You're gonna take that dog crate to a local shelter, yeah?
I am.
Yeah.
Saving Grace is gonna
Yeah.
get that dog crate. So yeah.
Well, you talk about the number of pounds at every project, don't you?
I usually do. That's one of the ways that we kind of measure our impact. I mean, that's kind of just for me to just a tracking system, but you can look and see that. I mean, if you had seen this place 2 hours ago, I mean, it's just night and day difference. So
Yeah. But I think when you tell people what their impact is right after they're working with you,
Yep.
it makes a big difference.
yeah, and we'll get the exact numbers. We'll have those probably by this afternoon at some point. But that is something that we have a lot of volunteers that if I don't share the weight, they'll reach out to me and say, hey, what is the weight we picked up? They always want to be a part of the highest the heaviest pickup or the most impactful pickup. So it's just something that we use to track, but it's also something that I like to share with the group.
One thing I've noticed that you do a lot on your social media, but I also just saw an example of it just a second ago when you talked about taking the dog crate to one of the local shelters,
Yeah.
is you kind of picked up on the fact that the social good community, the nonprofit community, is all interconnected.
Yeah.
And you talk about other nonprofits on your social media quite a bit.
Yeah.
Talk more about that. Why do you do that?
Well, it's just before I became a nonprofit, before I got in the circle, I did not know about all of these amazing organizations. And then when you just find out what they're doing and what they're trying to do, it's breathtaking. And support their mission. If they support us, whether they support us or not, it's necessary. I have to support them because they're, you said I was humble, but in all honesty, we're just picking up trash. They're saving people's lives and helping people through trauma and giving kids clothes. And it's just like, man, and when you find out about it, it's like the least I can do is show you some support on social media. That seems to be just the beginning of it.
Yeah, but what you're doing in doing that is you're building community.
Yeah.
Like those nonprofits, all the nonprofits in any community, in your community, in our community, Preston's community, like they are, all the work is interconnected. And like litter, where are we right now? We're not at a normal litter cleanup site, are we?
No. This was a special one. This is an abandoned homeless camp cleanup that we did today. So this is the first time we've specifically set out to clean up a camp that was for the unhoused. So
Yeah.
it was a big deal for us today. This was our first time. It's something we're going to kind of continue, but we enjoyed being able to have an impact in this way.
But my point in bringing that up is it's all connected.
Yeah,
It's
true.
Every issue is connected to every other issue.
Absolutely.
And you definitely see that.
When we came out here, there was there's litter and there's cans and bottles, and there's also baby toys and infant clothes, and it's like heartbreaking. And so it's like, if there's an organization that's going to help kids or do anything so that people don't have to live in this situation, man, I can give you a repost on social media or $20 a month. That's like the baseline, honestly.
All right, so you've built up such a great thing here, and I think that. But what's one piece of advice that you would have for someone else anywhere around the country, around the world, starting up a nonprofit or just a social impact project?
Have a wish, have a desire, create a mission, and just stick to it. Just be consistent. Don't give up. If it gets hard, don't give up. If it gets slow, don't give up. If you feel like you aren't having an impact, don't give up. Because at some point you're ultimately going to push through and it's going to all be worth it. So just like keep going. Hard times, good times, enjoy them, push through them, but just like whatever your mission is, whatever your desire is, whatever is the change that you want to see, just don't give up.
Aw, thanks, Preston.
You got it.
I'd love to hear what you thought of this. Do you think that you might be able to use some of Preston's strategies to build up community support for your organization? Share in the comments below. As I mentioned before, if you are starting a nonprofit, check out my website, foundertofulltime.com, for some resources and trainings that might be able to help you out. I also send out a newsletter about once a month with resources for folks starting a nonprofit or just making a difference in the world in some other way. And final thing, of course, don't forget to check out my Facebook group, Change the World or Bust. We've got folks in there from all around the world making an impact, sharing their stories, and getting encouragement from each other. Once again, this is Amber Melanie Smith. I hope that you enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time.